been surviving mostly on McDonald's food. It's just so much easier just to pop into the restaurant. But
yeah,
like I've said before, it gets too expensive.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're looking at 20 normal-looking videos with disturbing backstories.
Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
For this list, we're looking at seemingly innocent clips that have a truly upsetting undercurrent. Which of these videos do you find the eeriest? Let us know in the comments. Roger Dean and the nursing home fire. In November 2011, the Quakers Hill Nursing Home in Sydney, Australia was engulfed in a fire that resulted in the deaths of 11 people. While fire services tried to put out the flames, members of the press covered the incident and conducted some interviews. One of those was with Roger Dean, who worked as a nurse at the facility.
The smoke is just overwhelming, but we got a lot of people out, so that's the main thing.
Dean told reporters he'd helped in getting people out of the building, but failed to mention that he was in fact responsible for the fire. After stealing painkillers from the facility, Dean set fire to the building to cover up the theft. He later pleaded guilty to 11 counts of murder and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
For the first time in nearly 2 years, these families had a reason to smile.
Relief, yes.
Tragic pool party. A day that should have been filled with cheer for Russian Instagram influencer Yekaterina Didienko took a horribly tragic turn. Didienko was celebrating her 29th birthday at a pool complex when blocks of dry ice were added into the water, reportedly to make it colder. This created an eye-catching visual effect that was captured on video and uploaded to social media.
As the guests put the nearly 55 pounds of dry ice into the pool, the surface of the water was instantly covered in a thick white vapor.
In the clip, you can see people jumping into the steam-covered pool after the substance was added. Unfortunately, the dry ice, which is actually frozen carbon dioxide, caused breathing problems for the guests, some of whom fell unconscious. As a result, 3 people, including Didienko's own husband Valentin, lost their lives. Parrot mimics owner's final words. 46-year-old Martin Durham and his wife Glenna were found unconscious in their Michigan home in May of 2015. Both had suffered gunshot wounds that left Martin dead and Glenna severely injured. Police initially thought the couple had been victims of an attempted double homicide, but the truth, which was a lot more sinister, was revealed by none other than a parrot. Following the tragic incident, Bud, Martin's parrot, began repeating the apparent last words of his owner, since recorded on video. According to the authorities, the couple had gotten into an argument that ended in Glenna killing Martin before attempting to take her own life. The bird's verbal recreation of the incident later played a part in convicting Glenna for her husband's murder.
Bud the parrot is now in the custody of the murder victim's ex-wife, Christina Keller.
When Bud says those words, I feel like it's being relived in front of me. My house goes cold.
Mick Philpott's arson attack. In May 2012, a fire at a family home in Derby, England resulted in the deaths of 6 children belonging to Mick Philpott. Days after the incident, Philpott and his wife Mairead gave a press conference in which they seemed to be heartbroken over the loss of their children. However, their body language during the session raised a couple of eyebrows.
I've actually been down to our home, and what we saw, we just cannot believe it.
Police began carrying out surveillance on the couple and discovered that they, alongside their friend Paul Mosley, had orchestrated the fire.
I'll tell you the story. What? Know something? Have they got any evidence on you? They've got nothing on me. Nothing.
Their initial plan to frame Philpott's mistress for the incident so as to win custody of her children had horrific consequences. The 3 were charged with and later convicted of manslaughter. Melissa Benoist's Jimmy Fallon appearance. Supergirl star Melissa Benoist appeared on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon in 2016, where she spoke about an accident she was involved in. According to the actor, she had fallen down a flight of stairs and landed right into a potted plant, which injured her eye.
My whole face, I looked like Squirt from Finding Nemo. And it was great. It was so gnarly looking.
In the clip, Benoist narrates the ordeal like a lighthearted joke, but it seems the actual events were a lot more serious. In 2019, Benoist revealed that she was a person who had survived domestic violence, and described a particular incident that was eerily similar to the staircase mishap.
We made up a flimsy story together. I had tripped and fallen on the stairs of our deck and hit my face on a potted plant.
Although she stops short of linking both events, it's pretty awful to think that she could have been hiding that much pain behind a smile. Jonathan Schmitz and Scott Amador. The Jenny Jones Show was a syndicated daytime talk show that ran from 1991 until 2003. The program generated a huge controversy in 1995 when a man named Jonathan Schmitz was invited for a taping. During the episode, Scott Amador, an acquaintance of Schmitz, revealed that he had a crush on him and described some of his fantasies in front of a live audience.
When he was under the car, you had a fantasy about him.
Yeah, something to do with like brake oil, line snapping, and...
Although he seemed to be a good sport about it initially, it later turned out that Schmitz felt deeply humiliated. Just 3 days after the taping, he accosted Amador before shooting and killing him. Schmitz immediately confessed to the crime and was convicted of second-degree murder the following year.
He wouldn't leave me alone, that's why I did it. He said I went on the Jenny Jones Show. I didn't know it was a guy, that's why I killed him.
Idi Amin laughing. If you're an active social media user, chances are you've seen this clip of the former Ugandan head of state Idi Amin laughing on a boat. While you've probably tweeted the GIF or sent it as a meme to your friends, you may be shocked to know the actual backstory of the clip. In 1974, the dictator appeared in a documentary in which he was asked about a comment he had made in the past in relation to the Holocaust. Instead of directly addressing the comment, Amin breaks into maniacal laughter that's only made more disturbing by the atrocities he committed while in office. Joe O'Reilly's chilling Late Late Show appearance. Irish mother of two Rachel O'Reilly was found brutally murdered in her home in October of 2004 in what appeared to be a robbery gone wrong. Weeks after the unfortunate incident, Rachel's husband Joe O'Reilly appeared on The Late Late Show alongside her mother Rose.
My view as well would be, and again it's just my view, it's not a police theory, it's just my own personal belief, is that she knew the person, because why else would you kill her? It was a violent robbery.
Joe appealed to the general public for information about Rachel's supposed murder, but something about his demeanor rang suspicious. It was eventually revealed that Joe was having an affair with another woman and had in fact killed his wife so he could be with his mistress. Police linked him to the crime after his cell phone records quashed his initial alibi. Joe was convicted of the murder and sentenced to life imprisonment.
So the reality is he's shown no remorse, he has shown that he's never made a confession, and he's not sorry for what he's done.
McSkillet car reveal. Popular YouTuber Trevor McSkillet-Heitman gained prominence on the platform as a video game gambler. Heitman played Counter-Strike and made huge profits trading in-game skins. In December 2017, he posted a video in which he showed off his new ride, a super fast McLaren 650S sports car.
Yeah, this car is pretty damn insane. It's got a twin-turbo V8, so once the turbos kick in, you just have so much power, it's ridiculous.
Heitman later lost a large chunk of his income after he was banned by Counter-Strike's developers and had to cease skin trading. A few months later, in an attempt to take his own life, Heitman drove his McLaren in the wrong direction along a San Diego highway at top speeds. He crashed into an SUV, resulting in his own death and those of the other car's occupants, a woman and her young daughter.
The wrong-way driver has been identified as YouTube and e-game star Trevor Heitman.
Adam Lanza arcade video. In June 2012, a clip was uploaded to YouTube which features a young man at an arcade playing the popular game Dance Dance Revolution. At first glance, it's a harmless video of a goofy kid. That is, until you realize the kid is actually Adam Lanza, who carried out the tragic Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting mere months later.
The video was recorded several months before the massacre in 2012. The video was taken at a movie theater near his home.
Lanza was reportedly obsessed with the game and would spend hours every weekend playing at a movie theater close to his home. The infamous killer was also known to play more violent games, including one called School Shooter. Jimmy Savile. During his lifetime, DJ and TV personality Jimmy Savile was a British icon. And while his career was marked by numerous misconduct allegations, they were largely ignored or dismissed as rumors until his death in 2011. After his passing, however, investigations revealed that Savile was one of Britain's most prolific sex offenders, having assaulted hundreds of people, including minors, over many decades. During this otherwise normal segment on BBC's Top of the Pops, Saville can be seen groping an 18-year-old woman named Sylvia Edwards.
Did you tell anybody after it had happened?
Yeah, I told the man that was next to the cameraman, and he just told me to get lost. He said, that's just Jimmy, go away.
Edwards looks to be jumping from Saville's grasp and desperately attempts to squirm away from the presenter as he addresses the camera.
Where can you go? I had all these people in front of me.
Carmen Miranda drops to a knee. Known as the Brazilian bombshell, Carmen Miranda gained incredible fame in the 1930s as a samba dancer and actor. On August 4th, 1955, Miranda showed up to the Jimmy Durante show to film a performance with the host of the NBC variety show. The staff and cast members likely thought it was just any old workday, but Miranda was dying. After a strenuous dance, Miranda dropped to a knee and told Durante she was out of breath while holding her chest.
The music. Stop the music.
She played it off like a pro, laughing with Durante and continuing on with the show. But Miranda died of a heart attack between 3 and 10 a.m. the following morning. As such, the episode actually only aired over 2 months after filming. Unfortunately, as revealed by the morning after's events, the famous dancer had clearly been in ill health, having been a heavy smoker, drinker, and regular user of amphetamines.
One of the greatest performers I've ever known was the little lady from Brazil, Carmen Miranda. Her last appearance was here in this show with me, and she was never better.
Stranded on the road. In 1986, NBC 7 San Diego ran a segment explaining what to do should viewers find themselves stranded on the highway.
It's better to be in the safety of your vehicle and spend the night than to try to walk and get assistance.
It was overseen by NBC's Rory Devine, who was on a ride-along with California Highway Patrol Officer Craig Allen Pyre. In the clip, Pyre warns about predators scouring the highways.
Once you get in that other person's car, you're at their mercy.
Just 2 days earlier, Pyre himself had pulled over Kara Knott, murdered her, and tossed her body off a bridge. Scratches inflicted by Knott can be seen on Pyre's nose in the NBC footage. Following the segment, dozens of women called in and reported that the officer in the video had pulled them over and attempted to seduce them. Pyre was found guilty of Knott's murder and sentenced to life in prison. Happy birthday, sweet Marissa. This video depicts an old man singing happy birthday to a woman named Marissa. Cute, right?
Happy birthday to you.
Well, maybe not so much. This man is Edaram, or Edward Muscari, and he was a YouTube sensation in the mid-2000s. Edaram was also a registered sex offender, having been arrested for sexual battery back in 1986. In the video's description, Edaram eerily describes Marissa as the one that got away. An old fling or something far more sinister?
Oh yeah.
It's unknown, but there's no denying it's creepy. Edaram's YouTube career came to an end in 2009 after his computer was confiscated by the authorities. Edaram had failed to notify them about being a sex offender and was placed on probation, which he subsequently violated and was sentenced to prison for. The dating game killer. Serial killer Rodney Alcala is one of the most depraved murderers in American history. He maliciously toyed with his victims, assaulted and even killed some of them. There were at least 8 victims of his crimes, although some estimates place the toll as high as 130.
Between takes, he might find him skydiving or motorcycling. Please welcome Rodney Alcala. Rod, welcome.
In 1978, Alcala appeared on the game show The Dating Game and won a date with Bachelorette Cheryl Bradshaw.
Well, I like bananas, so I'll take one.
However, she ultimately declined to go on the date and referred to Alcala as creepy. Another contestant called him a very strange guy. At this point, Alcala had already murdered numerous people and would go on to kill again. He died in 2021 while serving life in California State Prison, Corcoran.
It is chilling to realize that this iconic show, celebrating love and romance, would unknowingly feature a remorseless killer.
The Boston Marathon bomber buys milk. Security footage inside a Boston area Whole Foods shows a man dressed in black entering, buying a carton of milk, and leaving without incident. Nothing at all out of the ordinary here. He was even buying the milk for his 2-year-old niece. Except, this man was an extremist and his previous actions of placing pressure cooker bombs close to the finish line of the Boston Marathon had just killed 3 people and horrifically injured another 264. In fact, the time between detonation and milk buying was less than half an hour. Perpetrator Dzhokhar Tsarnaev became the target of a massive manhunt, during which his fellow perpetrator and brother Tamerlan died. Dzhokhar was found 4 days after the bombing. He is currently incarcerated at Supermax Prison ADX Florence. The Midlothian Church murder suspect. This security footage from Creekside Church in Midlothian, Texas, shows a person in tactical gear patrolling the halls and opening various doors. Without knowing the story, this 2016 footage comes across as relatively harmless. It's a little weird seeing a lone person in full tactical gear inside an empty church, but the police search and examine buildings all the time. This person was not examining, however. They were hunting. Inside the church was fitness instructor Missy Beavers, and she was murdered, with the evidence pointing to the person in the video. Unfortunately, nothing else is known about the crime. The suspect and their motivation for killing Beavers remain a mystery. Jeffrey Dahmer Home video. When it comes to American serial killers, it doesn't get much worse or more notorious than Jeffrey Dahmer. His very name is synonymous with serial killers, having killed 17 people from 1978 to 1991. In this home video from the early 90s, Dahmer, who had already murdered multiple people by this point, can be seen speaking to his father and nonchalantly flipping through a magazine.
Working and working and working and working.
Working next week, starting Monday. I go back to work Sunday night.
They talk about Dahmer's weight and eating out at McDonald's, and Dahmer explains that he needs to start eating at home more often.
Been surviving mostly on McDonald's food. It's just so much easier just to pop into the restaurant. But
yeah,
like I've said before, it gets too expensive.
He just looks like a typical Midwestern male, not the most notorious serial killer in American history.
I have to start eating at home more.
The eating at home comment is also made creepier by the fact that Dahmer cannibalized many of his later victims. Chris Watts. By now, everyone knows Chris Watts as the subject of Netflix's American Murder, The Family Next Door.
I have no idea who gave you the right to take their lives.
But those watching Denver 7 News on August 14, 2018 would have had no idea he was a killer. Denver 7 interviewed Watts about the disappearance of his pregnant wife and 2 young children.
She didn't get back to her people, which was very concerning, and Nicole called me when she was at the door, and that's when I came home.
Aside from Watts' curious lack of emotion, this seems like a typical news segment about a missing person. The very next day, Watts was arrested after failing a polygraph and admitting to killing his wife Shannon.
And you have not shed one tear.
Don't look into that like I don't love my kids, I love my wife.
Explain to me.
Watts initially claimed that Shannon had ended the lives of their children and that he killed her in retaliation, but he later admitted to committing their murders as well.
I want everybody to just come home. Like, wherever they're at, come home.
The following November, Watts received 5 life sentences. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. The Stephen Mark McDaniel interview. In this video, viewers can pinpoint the exact moment that murderer Stephen McDaniel realized he was going to be caught. It is incredible and incredibly creepy.
Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point.
McDaniel lived next door to fellow law school student Lauren Giddings. Giddings had gone missing, and a few days after her disappearance, her dismembered torso was found covered in plastic in a trash bin outside the building where they both lived. McDaniel was not aware of this. While interviewing McDaniel about Giddings' disappearance, the reporter mentions the recent discovery of her body. The criminal completely shuts down.
I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they had recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
His eyes glaze over, he loses his words, and it looks like he's about to faint.
Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
He eventually goes to sit down, and while unknowing viewers may think he's in shock, the truth is far more malicious.